The functional group which is found in carboxylic acids is known as the carboxyl group, and this can be identified by a C double bond O, OH. A carboxylic acid is a covalent molecule which contains the functional group called the carboxyl group. Molecular formula can be written and structural formula drawn from the systematic names of straight chain carboxylic acids containing no more than 8 carbons. So in today's lesson, we're going to be naming straight chain carboxylic acids. Firstly, we have to identify the carboxyl group, and this, remember, is our C double bond O, OH. We then have to number this carbon, carbon number 1. We then number the top line of carbons in the longest chain. In this case, there's only 1 carbon atom. And we use the total number of carbons as your prefix. So the prefix for 1 is meth, and we add oic acid, so this is known as methanoic acid. Step number 1, we have to identify the carboxyl group, that's the C double bond O, OH. We number this carbon number 1. We then want to number the top line of carbons in the longest chain, and we use the total number of carbons as my prefix. So the total number of carbons we've got is 3, so this is known as propanoic acid. Let's firstly identify the carboxyl group, that's the C double bond O, OH. We then number this carbon number 1. We then number the top line of carbons in the longest chain. We use the total number of carbons as your prefix. So the total number of carbons that we have is 5. So the name of this carboxylic acid is pentanoic acid. So here are 3 examples for you to have a go at. I've drawn out the full structural formula, and it's your job to try and name the carboxylic acid for each of those examples. So if you want to pause the video and have a go, and when you're ready, press resume, and the answers will pop up on the screen. This past paper questions from the National 5 2018 written 13A part 1. Malic acid is a carboxylic acid found in some fruits. Name the functional group circled in the diagram above. We can see that they've circled a C double bond O, OH, and this is known as the carboxyl group. This past paper questions from the National 5 2014 written 8C. This table gives information on some other esters. Name X and Y. Now, esters isn't part of the current National 5 course curriculum, however it can be classed as problem solving. What we can see is the first column we have different types of alcohols, the second we've got the carboxylic acid, and the third column we've got the name of the ester. What we can see is that the first part of the name of the ester comes from the prefix of the alcohol, and the second part of the name of the ester comes from the prefix for the carboxylic acid. So if we look at the example of the ester that they want us to work back from, we have ethyl propanoate. Eth tells us we have 2 carbons, and therefore we would have ethanol as the alcohol used. Propanoate, prop tells us we've got 3 carbons, and therefore we would be using propanoic acid.